Josephine Wright was fighting with developers over claims to property that she owned, and that was until she passed away recently. She owned property on the prestigious island of Hilton Head, South Carolina. Hilton Head Island is a celebrity-ridden island off the coast of South Carolina. At one point, Michael Jordan, Ron Howard, and Oprah Winfrey lived there. After developers tried to buy the land from her and she refused, they began the legal process in February 2023 of trying to take Miss Wright's land. They said that her shed was encroaching on their property and inhibiting their development of what they wanted to build. Hilton Head used to be a majority black sea island, and now it's less than 7% black. And it's mainly due to one legal term that you may not have heard before. It's a legal term called heirs property. After the Civil War, many Confederate soldiers and people who owned the sea islands and property on the sea islands just left it there, and they left their slaves to fend for themselves. And because the enslaved people were accustomed to where they lived, they just stayed for generation after generation. Now, this posed its own legal issue because most of this was done without any documentation. And land that was passed down generation after generation was also done without any legal documentation. The main reason was that black people did not have adequate legal representation in the South, and they weren't treated fairly in Southern courts either. But with heirs' rights, it gives every living heir the same right to that land, whether they live on it or not. And it is 100% normal for developers to reach out to individuals who have no connection to South Carolina at all, but are the descendants of people who own that land, and say, hey, you know you got some land, right? Don't you want to make some money? And the person that's living on that land, who has told developers they don't want to sell several times, is now going up against their own relative that they've never met and the developer to take their land. You might think, oh, if I have land, I could borrow against it to get adequate legal representation to keep my land. Not with heirs' rights. With heirs' rights, it's extremely hard to get a mortgage, and you don't have any federal protections to your land as well. In my personal opinion, this is another systemic racist technique in order to take away the generational wealth of black people. Now, as far as Miss Josephine Wright's land goes, Tyler Perry has stepped in and said that he will honor his commitment by handing her family the keys to her new home on her land.